Okay, so this review right here is going to be about the Franklin Whole Home Battery Backup System and a couple of the components. So first thing I want to start off is talk about the A-Gate. That's basically the brains of the whole operation. It's an automatic pass-through, automatic transfer switch. Feeds that back all the data via Wi-Fi or 4G LTE. And down here, these things with the nice blue lights, these are the A-Powers or the batteries. So each one of these are a 13.5 kilowatt battery. They're AC coupled, which means that if you have microinverters, AC coming off the roof, you don't have to worry about anything. You just plug and go basically. It's obviously got built-in inverters that'll take the DC in there and convert it to AC and vice versa. So a couple things I want to show you here is just how it looked, and also wanted to kind of go over the installation. So the installation on this took about 4.5 hours. So again, I didn't think it was too bad for installing a couple batteries, a combiner box, and a brain. We also had to reroute the power out of the main panel here into there. So let's start off by opening up this A-Gate or brain over here. So a couple things you notice, I got the panel just kind of sitting in here so I can pull it off in a minute. But a couple things you notice is you got your solar breaker landed in there. That way if you have solar, you can recharge your batteries during the day. You have your breaker right here for how many ever batteries that you have, your A-Powers landed. And then you got a couple smart loads, 1 and 2. You got a 50 amp and also an 80 amp right there. That'll do automatic load shedding. So if you have an EV charger, hot tub, welder, air conditioner, whatever, you need to automatically shed so you don't burn up your batteries too fast in a grid outage. These spots will automatically do that. And then down here you got a couple generator spots right there. So again, if you did happen to have a backup generator, this device can automatically detect when your batteries are running low, and it can fire up a generator to use that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pop this panel off. I already have it unscrewed. We'll take that down so I can show you some of the components in behind here. First thing you're going to see is the big SCR wire that comes in. And what we actually did is from the main panel outside, the meter main combo has big 2-aught SCR wire running in to feed the sub panel, and this feeds the entire house. So what we did is we just went ahead and pulled that wire out of there, refed it in through the attic, brought it in down through the wall, and we landed it right here on line 1, line 2. So a couple things that this is going to do is it's got some CTs in there, so it's going to show you exactly what your home's using. It's got CTs up there, show you how much solar you're producing. It's going to tell you everything on the app that you need to know. So once we pulled that line, we ran into here. You got your line 1, line 2, neutral, and ground, of course. Again, very simple, straightforward. I mean, it's even labeled right there, line 1, line 2 grid. Line 1, line 2 generator. Over here you got your your backup, whatever it is that you're backing up that you want to land and run off of there. So then once we landed this in here, we went ahead and took some more SCR wire, and for our backup loads, again, line 1, 2, ground, neutral, we ran it back out in through the wall, and then we went ahead and tied it right there. Again, because it didn't have a main breaker in here before, we threw that main breaker kit in there for protection. So again, really easy. But by doing this, I didn't have to have an emergency panel or special loads panel. I didn't have to pull out a bunch of breakers to put somewhere else. These batteries will handle the load of, pretty much anything. So I just tied in literally my entire house is how we did it. So going back over to here, what here you'll see is this can actually take up to an 80 amp solar breaker. I got about 14 kilowatts of solar, so as you can see I only have a 40 amp breaker there. And each one of these are going to take a 30 amp breaker. Now this uses Eaton breakers for inside here, but you can use whatever combiner panel that you want. So I like Square D. I threw a basic Home Depot Square D combiner panel right there. It'll take up to 6 breakers or 3 double pulls. I put a 30 amp breaker in each one for each battery, ran number 6 wire in the wall, comes out here, comes up and over, and then that lands me on my 60 amp breaker right there. So again, I'd have to do a 90 amp breaker if I want to do 3 batteries, but what I've found so far running this test is that 2 batteries is doing me just fine, and I have been running fully off the grid since last Friday. So my solar runs the house, recharges the batteries, sun goes down, and then my batteries go and they run the entire house. But again, this A-Gate right here, pretty straightforward, simple device, automatic transfer switch. It's the brains. It communicates via Wi-Fi and 4G LTE to your app, so you can go in there and you can see everything that's going on. So I'm going to hop in here in a second and show you what that looks like. So what we have here is a view of the app. You can see on top that the solar coming into my house right now is 5.2 kilowatts, and the home's using 1 kilowatt, and then the rest of the juice is going to the Franklin Whole Power battery. You'll notice that there's nothing coming in from the grid. Decided to start this test last Friday. I turned the breaker off from the grid, so the only thing that my house could be powered by is simply the batteries and the solar. So the solar will help run my house during the day while recharging the battery. Anything that's short, it'll just go ahead and take from the battery. Scrolling down here, you could see under those conditions with 2 batteries hooked up and the solar running, it's showing that it has more than 72 hours worth of backup. So basically infinite. And then once the sun goes down and your home is only running on the batteries, then you could see here currently, it's taking 0.9 kilowatts. And then if you scroll down in the app, it'll actually tell you, what percentage of battery life that you have left, and also at that run rate, how many hours it will run your house for. And again, these loads will change based on if you turn on a dryer, or an electric stove or things like that. But again, I'm sitting here at 95% just on batteries. That's going to last me over 28 hours. So plenty enough time to get me through the night for the sun to come out the next day. Taking a look at this part of the app right here, it's going to show how much energy your home's using, how much your battery is either providing to your house or is charging from your house, if the grid is doing anything, and also what the solar is doing. So these lines right here represent what my house needs. The green lines represent what the Franklin Home Power battery is either giving or receiving. And then when I go up here, again, I can turn off the graphs for whatever it is that you want to do. So what we'll take a look at here is during these dips, when it goes down, you'll notice that it's below 0 because the solar is actually charging the battery. And when it shows the orange here in solar, when it jumps up on the graph, it's because that solar is not only powering my entire house, but it's also backfeeding and recharging the batteries, which is what you want a system like this to do. So again, you'll notice that the green lines follow the blue lines pretty much exact, because it's giving my house all the power it needs until the solar kicks in, and then it's going to go from there. So again, you could see that my home usage was 15.27. You could see how much the Franklin Home Power charged today, also how much it needed to charge to the house. And you could also see there was nothing importing or exporting to the grid, and then how much down there that the solar provided. So again, the solar provided quite a bit today, powered the house, and also gave it plenty of time to recharge the battery before tonight. So one more view that I wanted to show you is this is before I actually killed the grid. So it shows how much power was coming from the grid into the house, how much power was coming from the solar, and how much was going into the battery. So at this point, you can see with using very little from the grid, the solar was pretty much charging the battery, and it was at 93%. Once it hits 99%, the solar relay will kick off, and your home will just be powered by the battery or the grid, depending on if there's an outage, or if there's not an outage, and you could just get everything from the grid. So it just depends on your situation and how you set it up. So overall, I want to give this 5-star review. Everything in the system was very easy to use. It was easy to commission. The people at Franklin and the customer support, big shout out to Josh. He was on the phone with me, walking me through the commissioning process, answering a lot of questions that I had. The people over there couldn't be more helpful. So again, everything from the black start to the generator pass through to the 16 millisecond, transfer speeds, just the whole value that you really get from bang for the buck for, having 13.5 kilowatt batteries, it being AC coupled, and it's just a really good looking system. So everything that Franklin Whole Home Energy Storage offered, really went over well. The installation went well and went smooth. And that's my review of the Franklin Whole Home Energy Storage System. Thanks for watching.